Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Way That I See It. It's been a hot minute since I did a podcast. I had a couple of weeks to take a breath, take a breather, but I am fully back. And I wanted to jump on and make this quite a short one, but I wanted to talk about transforming fear into faith. Here's the thing about fear. It will and it can absolutely paralyze you. Now, it paralyzes you in a number of ways. Number one, it makes you overthink. So in that period where you're overthinking, overanalyzing, you believe that what you're creating is more control in your mind. So when you think about the 723 scenarios of what could happen, what then happens is you have this illusion or this false sense of illusion that you are in control of the situation. But what you're doing is literally sat there thinking. So nothing is actually changing. You're just sat there thinking and over-processing. So what then happens is when we spiral into fear, and a lot of us do, right? We spiral into fear from things that trigger us from our past, or we spiral into fear from, potentially not achieving the things in our future. And so for me, spiraling into fear is not something that I look down on or I'm judging you for. I want to be really clear on that. No judgment. This is a no judgment zone here. And I spiral into fear a lot. But the key thing is this, is recognizing when you're spiraling into fear, recognizing what you're spiraling into fear about, and then deciding to see the same situation through the lens of faith. Now, that sounds all very woo-woo out there and lovely, but what I actually mean by that is when you find yourself spiraling into this fear cycle, over-worrying, overthinking, overcharged thoughts, what then happens is you actually paralyze yourself from taking action. Because if you create 72 scenarios in your mind, you don't then have a clear map and a clear path of what you need to do to move forward. And I think the difference of when you pivot into faith is trusting that, well, two things. Number one, that everything's going to be okay no matter what happens. And number two, that you can handle it. That for me is the two biggest things around faith, is that number one, trusting that no matter what happens, everything's going to be okay. And number two, that absolutely you can handle it. And so with that in mind, what I want you to think about is this, that when you're in that state of fear and you feel like you're trying to control a situation by over-managing, overthinking, over-processing, writing 722 scenarios, actually what you've got to be able to do is do those scenarios, do that work, but do it from the place of faith. Because we will never see opportunity through fear lenses. We will never see a different way. We will never see a long list of opportunity through the lenses of fear, because fear is designed to keep us safe. So safety doesn't necessarily then breed open-mindedness. Whereas if you can put on your faith goggles by trusting that, everything happens for a reason, or whatever you choose to believe, and trusting that you can absolutely handle it, what that then means is that you will see opportunity in your mind's eye. You will think about things differently. You'll be more open-minded. You'll have conversations. You'll reach out to people, but not from a place of fear, from a place of collaboration and connection. And when that happens, what then happens is you put yourself into a place of trust and great energy. Now, when we're in great energy, we're not shutting ourselves down like we are in fear, which means that you are then in control of yourself to be able to take control of your thoughts, take control of your feelings, and in turn then take control of your actions. Because no matter what is happening on the outside, the reality is all that we ever have control of is our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. And if we allow ourselves to spiral into fear, to spend our time worrying about the negative what ifs, what we're then doing is we're actually taking away our power to change how we think and feel. So it doesn't actually matter what action you try to take in a place of fear. Nothing will happen from it, because your thoughts and your feelings are so negative, you'll likely paralyze yourself. So instead, I want you to, when you're thinking about opportunities or new ways to approach things, is to do that from a place of faith. And by approaching it from a place of faith, what will happen is you will easily, breezily, way more chilled, step into action. Because the one thing that will resolve anything is action. Whether if you're at the beginning of the goal, right, that's the easy, shiny bit. That's the bit that is like, oh my God, I'm so excited. It can definitely happen for me. You believe in possibility. And then the end result of achieving the goal when you're close is obviously, visually you can see it. You can almost touch it and taste it. That's easy. It's the messy middle where it gets messy. And this is the bit where the grit is necessary, the tenacity, the consistency, the compounding. That is where this must show up. And you must show up for the messy middle. And if you don't, that is why most people don't reach the the top, their goals, whatever list you want to put on the end of it. Setting a goal is easy. And as we approach the new year, I want you to really challenge yourself on the goals you're setting for yourself and ask about how committed you are going to be in that messy middle. Because it's very, very easy to start a new goal, set new goals. That's exciting. And it's very, very easy to be at the end of them. But that messy middle, that is the bit that you must strive through. And that is the bit where you must keep the faith. You must trust, you must be open-minded. And if you don't stay in that space in this bit, what will happen is you'll contract around your life, you'll paralyze yourself, and nothing will move forward. So how do you stay in that place of faith? Honestly, I think there's a few things. Number one, it's being able to, when you do spiral into negativity, you do spiral into fear, to be able to document that, log that, and talk that out, whether it's in a journal, with a therapist, or with a friend. That's the first step. The second step is believing so much more in your goals, your future, and your dreams than in the negative scenarios you create in your head. If you can imagine a negative scenario, you can equally manifest a positive one. And the decision is about what you are giving your time and energy to, both mentally, physically, and emotionally. That's not both, that's three. So what you've got to ask yourself is, where am I pouring my energy and attention? Am I pouring it into the negative what ifs, or am I pouring it into the positive what ifs? Am I pouring it into possibility and choice and ideas? Or am I pouring it into, well, if it doesn't happen this way, it's not going to happen? So much of the time we're so anal about how the goal has to happen that we don't see the wood for the trees. We don't see the incredible opportunity right in front of us. And so we must keep the faith no matter what in that process. And the third thing is constantly believing in yourself and building that belief in yourself. It's so easy to believe in a goal out there or something that someone else has done. But when it comes down to believing in ourselves, that can be the biggest challenge for all of us. You know, personal growth is never done. It's an ongoing journey. You know, honestly, we're never done. I really thought I was done and then went, oh my God, I've not even got started. So don't get cocky and think you're done and that's it, you're finished, nothing to worry about. There is work to always be done in the game of life. And so it's always rebuilding that belief in yourself, uncovering those limiting beliefs, transforming them into liberating truths, and putting more time, energy, and passion into what you want to happen into your life, into the future dreams, goals, and visions that you have, rather than worrying, thinking, and overanalyzing. Now, some of you will think this is so much easier said than done, Luce, and I can totally relate. I found last year so incredibly difficult. But what I've decided is the only person that controls what happened in my life is me. I am responsible for my happiness. I am responsible for my success. I am responsible for the action I do or do not take. And I am the only one responsible for my thoughts, my feelings, which in turn leads to my actions. And that is exactly the same for you. So this was the first in probably many episodes all about fear, especially in the current times. So if you love this, I'd love for you to leave a review. I'd love you to share this, recommend this if it resonated. That was the way that I see it. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.